So students, we continue our discussion on modern periodic table. Now we have come to the last part, and that is the periodic trends in properties. Part A, which will be elaborate, that is periodic trend in physical properties, and then part B, which will be very little, that is periodic trend in chemical properties. And I must tell you, this is one thing which is very regularly asked in your college exams, and the knowledge of it will be useful in solving many MCQs. They will not ask you directly most of the things, but indirect application of all these aspects will be there in your MCQs. Okay, so I'm coming to, as I said, heading number 7. Heading number 7, periodic trends in properties. Now, what we discuss over here, what we call as periodic properties, that is what we mean by periodic properties. I'll tell you, for the elements, the properties which mainly depend upon, directly or indirectly, they depend upon the electronic configuration, or more with respect to the outermost electronic configuration, and they follow a particular pattern of changing as we go across a period or as you go down a group. Such properties which are depending upon the electronic configuration and which change in a regular pattern across a period from left to right and down a group from top to bottom, these are called as periodic properties, and we would like to see the trend in this periodic properties. Say for example, if you think of the atomic size, so what happens is atomic size is the distance that will be the first point of a discussion actually, is the distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost electronic shell of an atom. So it is quite obvious, if as I go down a group, so you will find the atomic size will go on increasing because number of shell is going on increasing to accommodate more and more electrons. But as we go across a period, so what will happen, the outermost shell remains the same, but atomic number is increasing. So nuclear charge at the center is becoming more and more. So the attraction on the outermost shell is becoming more and more, and therefore there will be slight contraction, and therefore there will be slight decrease in the atomic size as you go across a period, just to make you understand what kind of things that you're going to discuss. So I hope I'm clear about the periodic properties, the properties which are directly or indirectly depending upon the electronic configuration and which change in a regular fashion as you go across a period or go down a group, are called as periodic properties, and we want to see the trend in such periodic properties. In this, the first and foremost thing, point A will be talking, as I was telling you, point A will talk about the physical properties, and physical properties when I talk about, even if you go through your notes from the textbook, is quite easily understandable, but let's understand the concept. So in this, the first and foremost thing that I will talk about is atomic radii. Radius is singular, radii is plural. Now what is atomic radius of an atom? It is the distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost electronic shell of an atom is called as atomic radius. All right. Now this atomic radius, the trend that we talk, by the way, in this we will talk about the trend in the normal elements. Normal elements means, I'll just quickly recap what I mean by this. Normal elements are the elements in the I think I made it too big. Normal elements are the elements of S block and P block. They are called as normal elements. D block elements are called as transition elements, and down here the A block elements are called as inner transition elements. Is that okay? This is normal elements, this is normal elements. And when we talk about the trend, mainly we talk about the normal elements, that is, we'll ignore the transition elements in between, and then we'll talk separately about the transition elements, and as and when required we may also talk about the inner transition elements, but main focus will be on normal elements. Now atomic radius, as I was telling you, it is the distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost electronic shell of an atom. All right. Now it is usually measured in angstrom unit. Now what is the trend that you see? So I talk about the trend in normal elements. Trend in normal elements means trend in S block and P block elements. So in them, as you go down the group, so you will find the atomic radius goes on increasing. It goes on increasing. Now why it increases? Because as you go down the group, so you will find for the second period, the second shell is the outermost shell. For the third period, third shell is the outermost shell. For the fourth period, fourth shell is the outermost shell. For fifth period, fifth shell is the outermost shell. So obviously what is happening is, as you go down, the atomic number is increasing by a big margin, and to accommodate the extra electrons, number of shells are going on increasing. In the second period, the outermost shell is the second shell. If you think of lithium, then next one sodium, third shell is the outermost shell. Number of electron has increased from 3 to 11. Then when you go to fourth period, so fourth shell is the outermost shell, which you find in case of potassium. So like that, as you go down the group, so you find that number of shell is going on increasing to accommodate the extra electron. And if number of shell is going on increasing, so distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost shell also is going on increasing, and therefore very clear that atomic radius will go on increasing down any group. All right. Now what happens across the period? Now across the period, the atomic radius in the normal elements, it decreases from group 1 to group 17. It gradually, it doesn't decrease sharply, but gradually it decreases from group 1 to group 17. Now what is the reason? So for that, the reason is, just let us think of the for the third period or third series. So you will understand, the first element is sodium, then you have got magnesium, then you got aluminium, then you got silicon, like that it is going up to chlorine, let us say. So here the atomic number is 11, here it is 12, here it is 13, here it is 14, here it is 17. But what happens in case of all of them, third shell is the outermost shell. In case of sodium, there are 11 protons, first shell 2 electrons, second shell 8 electrons, third shell 1 electron. Now when you go to magnesium, so what will happen? There will be 12 protons here and 1 more electron here. When you go to aluminium, there are 13 protons here and there is 1 more electron. Now you can understand that the nuclear charge is going on increasing, but there is no addition in the outermost shell. So obviously in the outermost shell, the attraction which is enjoyed by the electrons become little more, and because of that these electrons come little closer, and therefore you can say there is a slight contraction of the outermost shell or slight shrinkage of the outermost shell, and therefore the outermost shell which should have been here, it becomes little closer, and that means the size of the atom or atomic radius is going on gradually decreasing from group 1 to group 17. But from group 17 to group 18, so you will find that again it will increase. Now what is the reason? The reason is, in case of group 18, say for example in case of argon, there are 18 protons, no doubt. First shell there are 2 electrons, second shell there are 8 electrons, third shell there are 8 electrons, and all the 8 electrons are paired up electrons. So here are paired up electrons. So these are all paired up electrons, and what happens is, these paired up electrons, they give little more repulsion, and because of that there is expansion of the outermost shell, and therefore there is increase in the size. I hope you understood. When you move from 17 to 18, so as you go to 18, so what happens, that is in case of noble gases, in noble gases the nuclear charge has increased, number of electrons in the same shell has increased, but the electrons, all the electrons are paired up, and the paired up electrons, they give little extra repulsion amongst each other, and because of that this shell gets little expanded, and therefore the size becomes bigger, and therefore I say it gradually decreases from group 1 to group 17, but group 17 to group 18 it again increases because of the repulsion between the paired up electrons. I hope you are clear with it. So I quickly recap what I said. Trend in the normal elements: as you go down the group, the atomic radius goes on increasing because of increase in number of shell to accommodate extra electrons. As you go across the period from group 1 to group 17, the atomic radius gradually decreases due to increase in nuclear charge, and the electrons get added to the same existing outermost shell. So in the existing outermost shell, the nuclear attraction experience becomes more, therefore there is gradual shrinkage of the outermost shell, and therefore there is gradual decrease in the atomic radius. But from 17 to 18, it again the atomic radius increases, because in group 18 the electrons which are the nuclear charge is increased indeed, but in the outermost shell the electrons are paired up, and paired up electrons, they give extra repulsion, and therefore there is slight expansion of the outermost shell, and therefore the atomic size increases. Is it okay? Now let's see what happens trend in transition elements. Now when you talk about a trend in transition elements, in case of transition elements, what happens as you go down? So you will find, as you go down the group, so you will find, as you find the from one period to another, the outermost shell has increased, and therefore there is obvious increase in the atomic radius, just the way it increases in the normal elements because of increase in number of electrons by too many. Because of to accommodate those extra electrons, there is increase in number of shells, and therefore there is increase in the atomic radius. But in transition elements, when you go across the period, the atomic radius, it decreases slightly, it decreases slightly, or you can say remains more or less the same, or it remains more or less the same. Let us understand what is the reason. The reason is, I would like to take the example in the first transition series, or in that is scandium to zinc. So when you go to scandium, the scandium atomic number is 21. So configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, and then 3d1. Now if you see the accommodation of the electrons, so there are 21 protons. First shell 2 electrons in the s subshell, second shell 8 electrons s and p, third shell I will put it like this: s electron 1 2, p electron 1 2, that is p electron means electron in the p subshell, 3 4 5 6. Then in the fourth shell, this is the fourth shell, there are 2 electrons, and now the electron number 21, that comes in the d subshell of the third shell, so it comes over here. You understand my point? Now when it comes over here, so that is for scandium. Then we go to the next one, the vanadium, that is 22. So you will find the electron increases like this. Next one, 23, electron comes, electron in the s subshell, so it becomes d1, d2, d3, like that, d4. So electrons are coming in the, not the last shell, but the second last shell. And what happens is, when the electrons come here, the shielding effect by these electrons become more. When the shielding effect becomes more, so in that case they nullify the increase in the nuclear charge, and as a result the outermost shell electrons, the fourth shell electrons, they are experiencing more or less the same nuclear force of attraction, more or less the same, and as a result they do not undergo that much contraction as it happened in normal elements, and therefore this distance remains more or less the same. If you ask me, actually what happens, there is slight decrease, but the decrease is very nominal, or you can ignore that, and therefore you can say it remains more or less same. Because of the shielding effect, the shrinkage of the outermost shell is to very less extent, and that is why you may say it slightly decreases, or you may say it remains more or less the same. So summary is, in the transition elements, as you go down, the atomic radius goes on increasing. As you go across, atomic radius slightly decreases because of the shielding effect, or it remains more or less the same because of this shielding effect. Is it okay? That is all about it, but I want to tell you one extra thing. I hope you understand that. That is, if you think of the lanthanides and actinides, in case of lanthanides and actinides, now what happens is the shielding effect becomes even more powerful, because the electron enters n-2 f 1 to 14. It is like this. So let us say this is the first shell. Here is the nucleus. First shell, second shell, third shell, fourth shell, fifth shell, and here is the sixth shell. Now what happens is, all the electrons, they come in, so if this is a sixth shell, so they come in the fourth shell. In the fourth shell, f electron 1, f electron 2, f electron 3, they have come inner, and as a result shielding effect is even more powerful, and therefore the contraction that takes place is less. This is called as lanthanide contraction or actinide contraction, and therefore यहाँ पे तुम आंख बंद करके बोल सकते हो, the atomic radius in case of transitional inner transition elements, in case of inner transition elements, you can say they remain the same because of the more powerful shielding effect. There is contraction, but contraction is less, and that less contraction in this lanthanide series is called as lanthanide contraction, and that less contraction in actinide series is called as actinide contraction. Is it okay, children? So that is all about the atomic radii. Now let's go to point number 2, and point number 2 that I talk about is about next property we talk about is ionic radii. Ionic radii. First, let me give you the definition. What is ionic radius? Is the distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost electronic shell of an ion, not of an ion, of distance between the center of nucleus and the outermost electronic shell of an ion. Is it okay? Now what happens is, now what kind of ions are formed? There are two types of ions are formed. One is cation, another is anion. So let us think of that. The kind of ions that are formed are cations and anions. Now what are cations? Cations are formed due to loss of one or more electrons from the outermost electronic shell, whereas anions are formed due to gain of one or more electrons to the outermost shell. So when you talk about the cation, so whenever cation is formed, you will find there is a sharp decrease in the ionic radius. That is, radius of the ion will be much smaller than the corresponding atom. Let me tell you how. Let us talk about sodium. Sodium, it has configuration of 281. Now it loses an electron, so it becomes Na plus. Moment it becomes Na plus, its configuration becomes 28. So the moment it has lost that electron, the outer shell, third shell, is totally obliterated, totally removed. So it is no more the third shell is the outermost, it is the second shell, and therefore there is a tremendous decrease in the ionic radius. you can visualize it like this. This was a sodium atom, 2, 8 and 1. This is what was the sodium. But when it forms sodium ion, it has got only 2 and 8. The third shell is no more existing, and therefore you will find this radius has become much lesser. This happens in the sodium. Same thing happens in magnesium. If you think of the magnesium 2, 8, 2. I am writing school way configuration. I could have written 1s2 2s2 2p6 etc., but I am writing like this. So now it loses 2 electrons, and both the electrons are from the outermost shell. The moment that happens, outermost shell is no more is considered, and therefore this will become Mg2 plus, and iska configuration is 2, 8. So third shell which was there has totally gone. So because of that, you will find size of the cation is much smaller than the corresponding atom. What I mean is Na plus is much smaller than Na. Mg plus plus is much smaller than Mg. So one thing you must remember, and another aspect that happens, that also the nuclear force of attraction experienced by the outer shell electron is much more powerful. Earlier, if you see, 11 electrons were having attraction by 11 protons. Now 11 protons are attracting 10 electrons. So per electron the effective attraction is much more. That also causes the decrease in the ionic radius. Same is in case of magnesium. Earlier 12 protons were attracting 12 electrons, but now same 12 protons are attracting only 10 electrons. So obviously the attraction on the electrons have become much more, and therefore the size of the ion cation which is formed is much smaller. All right. So what I have learned over here is the cationic radius is smaller than the corresponding atom. Now what about the anion? Anions are formed due to gain of one or more electrons. Let us see what happens in case of chlorine. 287. It has gained 1 electron to become Cl minus, and now it is 288. If you think of sulfur, so sulfur is 286. It gains 2 electrons to become S2 minus and 288. Now in this case, earlier you see 17 protons were attracting 17 electrons, but when it formed that Cl minus ion, 17 protons are attracting 18 electrons. Therefore there is a dilution in the nuclear charge attraction, and because of that the electrons go little away from the nucleus, and you can say there is a kind of expansion of the outermost shell, and that is where the size is bigger. Same here in sulfur. 16 protons were attracting 16 electrons, but when it formed the sulfide ion, 16 protons are attracting 18 electrons. So per electron the attraction has become less, so they have gone little far away. So you can think of it like this. I am talking in terms of chlorine. 17 protons were there, 2 electrons, 8 electrons, and here there were 7 electrons. Now what happened? 1 more electron has entered when it formed Cl minus. The moment that has happened, these electrons go little away, and therefore there will be slight enlargement of the outermost shell, and therefore this distance will become little more, and therefore anions are slightly bigger than the corresponding atoms. So I would say here the anionic radius is slightly bigger than the corresponding atoms. Is that okay? And as far as trend in the ionic radius is concerned, I would say the trend in the ionic radius is concerned is more or less same as those in atomic radius. Is that okay? Just the way we found the atomic radius goes on increasing down the group and goes on decreasing along a period. It follows more or less the similar trend. But that is not something which they ask. What they talk about is isoelectronic ions. There is a term called as isoelectronic ions. Now, what are isoelectronic ions? First, I give you the example, then I will give you the definition. Isoelectronic ions. See, children, I will say, let's say, Na plus or then F minus, Na plus, F minus, Mg plus plus. Let me talk about these three. Now these are and Al plus plus plus. These are all isoelectronic ions. Now why? In case of sodium ion, it is 2,8. In case of fluorine, it was 2,7 plus 1. So it has become 2,8. In case of Mg, it was 2,8,2. Now it has become 2,8. In case of aluminium, it was 2,8,3. Now it has become 2,8. So ultimately, this has got how many electrons? 10 electrons. This has got 10 electrons. This has got 10 electrons. This has got 10 electrons. So they have got same number. So same number of electrons. They are called as isoelectronic ions. So therefore, what are isoelectronic ions? Isoelectronic ions are the ions of different elements having same number of electrons. So ions of different elements having same number of electrons are called as isoelectronic ions. I'll give you one more example. Another example is S minus minus, Cl minus, then S minus minus, Cl minus, then K plus. These are all isoelectronic ions. Now, how many electrons are there in S minus minus? Originally it was 16. It has gained 2. So it has ended up with number of electrons are 18. Here originally 17, lost gained 1, so it has become 18. Potassium originally 19, lost 1, so it has become 18. I'll take another case, calcium, Ca plus plus 18. These are all isoelectronic ions. If you see, they all have got same number of electrons. Is that okay? Now in isoelectronic ions, one very important thing you must understand, that you know that the cations are smaller than anions. That is one thing, which means Na plus, Mg plus plus and Al plus plus will be smaller than F minus. That is one. Another thing is, more the charge on cation, more the charge on cation, smaller the size. That is because the nuclear force of attraction of the outermost electrons become more. So if you ask me to think of the size of these four, so I would say the smallest will be Al plus plus, bigger than that will be Mg plus plus, bigger than that will be Na plus, and bigger than that will be F minus. So F minus is the biggest because it is anion. They are smaller, but amongst them aluminium will have the smallest size because it has got maximum charge, then Mg plus plus, and then Na plus. And if you ask me to talk about the size of S minus, compare them. So which will be the biggest? These two anions, and smaller will be these two cations. Correct? These will be bigger, S minus minus and Cl minus, and smaller will be K plus and Ca plus plus. But ये दोनों में कौन कम होएगा? Ca plus plus, because more the charge on the cation, smaller will be the size. So Ca++ will be smallest, little bigger will be K+, little bigger will be Cl+, Cl-, and biggest will be S-. So this is the story about the isoelectronic ions. So if you are asked to compare the size of the isoelectronic ions, remember anions will be bigger than cations. And as far as cations are concerned, more the charge on the cation, smaller the size, because nuclear force of attraction on the outermost will become more concentrated, right? And as far as anions are concerned, they are bigger than the corresponding atoms, but more the charge on the anion, bigger will be the size, because there will be little more and more expansion on the outermost shell. So that is all about the ionic radii. And I remind you, as far as trend is concerned, trend will be more or less same, can't say the same, because it depends what kind of ions they are forming. More or less they will follow the same pattern as they have followed in the atomic radius. All right, children. So that's all. The next discussion will be discussion on ionization enthalpy, and that I will start in my next video lecture. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. God bless you.